Welcome to Baseball Info Solutions. I am John Bresix, and I have overseen the minor league operation since the 2006 season. Returning scorers should know what our program is like already, while new scorers should hopefully have a better idea after watching this. Baseball Info Solutions is a baseball statistics company based in the Lehigh Valley area in Pennsylvania. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the area, we are about an hour and a half north of Philadelphia. We have various customers throughout the industry, including about half of the major league teams. Our minor league data is provided to a confidential client. This is where you come in. The minor league data is very important to our client, so it is vital that we get accurate data from you in a timely fashion. I ask that everyone reads over 3 sections completely in the handbook, as they will not be covered on the video. Those are scheduling, the rain date policy, and the scorers agreement. All scorers should send us a scorers agreement, including people who are returning from last year. However, returning scorers do not need to do the test game. Also, we have an incentive program designed to reward people who score a lot of games accurately, so be sure to check that out. Many things here will be a refresher if you're a returning scorer. However, there is one significant change in 2011, and that is the scoring software. As I said before, I don't require returning scorers to do the test game, but I'd recommend entering a 2010 game using your old score sheets or the pitch-by-pitch data on minorleaguebaseball.com as practice before the season starts. Whether you're a returning scorer or a new one, you will probably have questions from time to time. If this is the case, I urge you to get in contact with the BIS office. During the season, we have employees in the office from the morning until the last Major League game of the night is over, which is generally between 1 and 2 a.m. Eastern Time. If you have a question that doesn't need a response right away, you can certainly email us. Our email addresses are provided in the handbook, though for most things, you'll be dealing with me or Jim. Depending on what you need assistance with, you may be able to ask a fellow scorer, and I urge people to try that, as it can help you develop a rapport with those you will be working with at the ballpark this year. Now, let's address ticketing, as you won't be able to get into the park without tickets. We have secured 2 season tickets in each minor league city. The reason for that is our goal is to have 2 people at every game, thus there is 1 ticket for each scorer. Unless another arrangement has been made, you will pick up your ticket at roll call. Generally, all you'll have to do is go to the window, identify yourself as being from Baseball Info Solutions, and you'll get one of the tickets. Some places require that you show a business card, like this one, which I've provided in your training kit, but in most places you won't even have to do that. In an emergency situation where you are unable to obtain a ticket at roll call, I ask that you buy a ticket, which we will reimburse you for. We would much rather pay for an extra ticket than risk missing a game. A good source of information is our helper resource page. We post announcements there, including various reports that are run during the course of the season, so please check that page often. Finally, I'd like to reiterate that you should get in touch with us if you have any questions. My cell number is provided both in the handbook and on the business card in the event that you need to talk to someone but no one is answering at the office. Please feel free to contact us, as we're always happy to answer your questions. Here is the helper resource page. On it you will find plenty of information. For example, we like to make announcements at the top of the page so that we can keep everyone informed without sending out mass emails. Here you can see the final game quality report of 2010 is linked to, and there's a note in the banner indicating that bonus checks were sent out last November. In addition to announcements, you will find downloads for field diagrams and score sheets so that you can print them out, make copies, and take them to the ballpark. There's also an updated scoring guide in case you need to download another copy of it. It's also possible to view any changes made in between releases. Installing the software is easy. Just go to the website as instructed in your handbook, or click on the link on the helper resource page. If you're there, you should see the page I have up now. As I mentioned in the handbook, I recommend that you do the installation using Internet Explorer, which is what you'll see in this demonstration. Click the Install button at the bottom. You'll be asked if you want to run or save the setup file, or cancel the process altogether. Choose Run. If you get a security warning, select the option that allows you to continue. In this case, Run. If you're missing any of the prerequisites, they will be installed before this application runs. Now we get another security warning. Select Install to proceed. Now the application will be installed, and when it's done, the RBI scoring software will open on your computer. To begin scoring a game, the first thing you want to do is open the RBI scoring software. When you do this, the first thing that the software will do is create the rosters and the schedules. As you can see, this is not a long process and finished in a matter of seconds. Next, you'll need to enter your username and password. Conveniently, both are set to be your scorer ID number. My scorer ID number is 1958, so I enter 1958 in both fields, hit begin, and the software allows me to proceed. Now we need to pick the game that we want to score. The game I'm going to use in this example is the Yankees-Rays game that was played on September 15th, 2010. Initially, the software will always default to the current date. To choose your game, you're going to want to click on the down arrow next to the calendar. If your game was actually played on the current date, January 14th, you would click on January 14th, and the software will be populated by the games that were played on this date. As you can see, there are no games on January 14th as it's not baseball season. Now our game was played on September 15th, 2010. To change this, we once again click on the down arrow next to the calendar, and then we click on the month provided that the game is not played in the current month, which it's not. At the top will be the year, which generally speaking you won't have to change. In this case, we do though, and since the game was played in 2010, we click the back arrow to go back to 2010, and then we click on the month that the game was played in, September. Next, we click on the date, the 15th. Now, the software will be populated by the games that were played on September 15th, 2010. Now we just need to scroll down until we find the game that we want to score, the Yankees-Rays game. There are 3 buttons in the Major League version of the software: Score Game, Chart Game, and Timer Game. In the Minor League version, all you'll ever see is Score Game. This is the button that you need to click in order to begin. Now we need to confirm the settings for our game. The only setting that might potentially have to be changed is Use DH, although generally speaking, you shouldn't even have to change that. Just confirm that if your game in fact used a designated hitter, that yes is chosen here, or if the pitcher's hit, that no is selected. Once you've verified that everything is correct, hit Next. Now we need to confirm where the game is being played. If you're scoring a minor league game, you can always just hit Next here, as all minor league games are scored using the default field. If you're scoring a major league game, generally you'll just be hitting Next through the screen also. However, in the drop-down are other home fields that a team has used in case you need to make a change. Once you have made the correct selection, hit Next. Now we get to setting the starting lineups for the game. One helpful shortcut is that if you hit the first letter of a player's last name on the keyboard, the software will take you to players whose last names begin with the same letter. For instance, Derek Jeter led off for the Yankees in this game. So, if I click in the Yankees roster and hit the J key, it skips me down to players whose last name begins with a J. Now, we drag Derek Jeter's name to the position he played in the field. In this game, he played shortstop, so if we drag Derek Jeter to shortstop, you can see that Derek Jeter is now manning the field at the shortstop position and batting first in the batting order. One nice feature that the software has is that it autofills the batting order. What this means is that if you enter everyone sequentially, it will drop them into their correct position in the batting order. For instance, Curtis Granderson hit second after Derek Jeter, so if I scroll down to the G's and drag Granderson into center, he's now occupying the second spot in the order. Mark Teixeira hit third playing first base. Alex Rodriguez batted fourth playing third base. Robinson Cano hit fifth playing second. Lance Berkman hit sixth as the designated hitter. Jorge Posada hit seventh as the catcher. Austin Kearns batted eighth as the left fielder. And Colin Curtis hit ninth as the right fielder. Phil Hughes was the pitcher in this game, and he occupies the hit for position. Now we enter the lineup for the Tampa Bay Rays. To do this, click the Rays tab. Now we'll enter the Rays lineup the same way we did for the Yankees. Jaso led off as the catcher. Ben Zobrist hit second, playing second base. Carl Crawford, man left field, batting third. Evan Longoria was a cleanup hitter, and he played third base. Matt Joyce followed in right field, batting fifth. Dan Johnson was the designated hitter, batting sixth. Carlos Pena hit seventh, and he was playing first base. B.J. Upton was in center field, batting eighth. And the lineup finished out with Jason Bartlett playing shortstop in the ninth position. The starting pitcher in this game was James Shields. Finally, once you've entered both lineups, hit next. The software will give you a warning if you don't have numbers lock on. Make sure that you have numbers lock enabled so that you can use the keyboard shortcuts as you enter your game. Hit OK, and you're ready to begin your game. While we do our best to keep the rosters up to date, there will inevitably be times when you need to add a player to the roster. Let's say you are scoring a Durham-Gwinnett game and Chris Carter bat leadoff for Durham and played first base. If you scroll to the C's in the roster, you'll see that there is no Chris Carter. So, you will need to contact BIS and obtain his player identification information. Once you have the needed information, scroll down to Add Player to Roster and click this. Now, you'll have a screen pop up to enter the player's identification information. There's a field for player ID, first name, last name, and spots to select which side he bats and throws from. Let's say when you contacted BIS, you were told Chris Carter's identification information was ID number of 7707 and that he bats left and throws left. Now, in the player ID field, you enter that player ID number that you were given, 7707. For first name, just type Chris. For last name, type Carter. For bats, select left, and for throws, select left. Once you're done, hit Add Player. Now, if you scroll down to the C's, you'll see Chris Carter is there. Remember, we said that we wanted him to be in the lineup batting leadoff and playing first base. So, if we drag Chris Carter to first base, we'll see that this is indeed the case. Now, you can just enter the rest of the lineup from here. There are 4 general options that you have available to you when scoring a game.